Kia ora, I'm Sybil Mando. I have answered the question, how did the Polynesian Panthers use the concept of the common good to achieve political recognition and overcome post-colonial institutional racism? The common good argument, as discussed by Iris Young, suggests that it is better for society as a whole to focus on what will benefit everyone rather than the self-interests of individual groups, and is supported by Republicans, Liberal Nationalists and Socialists. The politics of recognition, as argued by Charles Taylor, is concerned with the importance of visible, authentic and accepted identity for all cultures in society. The Polynesian Panthers used an approach to their political action that incorporates the common good model to achieve political recognition for the Polynesian community. The Republicans believe that groups who pursue political and social recognition eliminate the opportunity to achieve a common good by focusing only on the self-interests rather than what is beneficial for society as a whole. The Polynesian Panthers' political initiatives were focused on the common good of bringing post-colonial catharsis and unification to New Zealand and to other colonised parts of the world, rather than exclusively promoting the Polynesian identity. The Polynesian Panthers advocated that all cultures around the world were deserving of political recognition and that commonality between groups and states should surpass dominance of one over others. An example of this is the Springbok Tour in 1981.
In 1981, the New Zealand Rugby Union invited the racially selected Springboks from apartheid South Africa to tour New Zealand. Each game was met by increased protest and resistance, and at the final game at Auckland's Eden Park, just a stone's throw away from Ponsonby, the Panthers faced their final battle.
This protest attracted participation from people of all ethnicities who, despite the existence of racial issues in New Zealand, could feel united. Young argues that the concept of the common good can bias certain dominant perspectives and place other social groups in opposition as deviant, but the Polynesian Panthers redefined political recognition not as deviant, but to include all groups.
It wasn't just a venting of frustration and anger. Nah, there was a reason for it. Apartheid was the beast that we have to slay.
Nationalists argue that when specific racial groups try to gain political recognition, it weakens the national identity of the country as a whole. The Polynesian Panthers tried to gain political recognition using an approach that reflected the liberal nationalist perspective by establishing inclusive community initiatives.
And were kids actually killed along here?
Yeah, there were 2 kids got killed before we got into action. And so,
Hawaiian kids, eh?
Yeah. And so basically we went down to council and told them, look, they've got to do something about these crossings, that kind of stuff. We gave them a period of time to get it done. I think it was 3 weeks, or something. And then nothing happened. So we decided to come in and just do a protest along here. And Amma was the one that was ahead of this project. And so we had traffic backed up all the way down that way down here. That's when the cops come flying in. And the cops came flying in and sort of said, what are you doing? And they said, well, we want to get this crossing fixed up. And then 3 weeks later, they put the lights up.
Grassroots political activity promotes Polynesian political recognition through peaceful protests that uses a liberal nationalist model because the focus is on the infrastructure of traffic lights, which is a common area to everyone in the community, and road safety, which is a fundamental need of all cultures. The socialist perspective on the advocacy of groups for political recognition argues that they neglect class struggles and undermine class solidarity. The Polynesian Panthers had alignments to the socialist perspective because they fought for the rights of the working class, which brought political attention to the issues faced by working class people of any culture. One of the core advocacies of the Polynesian Panthers was housing standards, because many Pacific Islanders were living in poor conditions and paying high rent.
We would quite often be in situations where the landlord would have hired a security firm to come down and evict the person from the flat for not paying rent. So we would go down there and barricade ourselves in with the tenant, and the security firm would come down and physically try and remove us, and we just wouldn't move. And this sent a message to the landlords that this was another part of justice, another part of fairness, that we're not going to tolerate anymore. And you want us to live in the substandard housing and pay this amount, pay quite a high rent for what you're giving us. And you want us to be quiet about that? It isn't going to happen.
So using these examples, it can be argued that the Polynesian Panthers used the concept of the common good to achieve their own political recognition using inclusive and affirmative initiatives that focused on supporting multiple communities both nationally and internationally.